Guess what? I was a victim of social engineering. A cybersecurity professional with over 10 plus years of experience in the field, I was a victim of one of these social engineering attacks. And we're going to talk about it more in this video. I'm not going to just talk about what happened to me. I'm going to also talk about how you can protect yourself against these type of attacks yourself. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. And today we're going to be talking about how I was a victim of a social engineering attack. Let me just start from the beginning, right? Because many times us cybersecurity professionals can act like we just got it all together. We always have the right answers. We are always able to protect ourselves against the bad guys, when no, that is not the case. Anybody can be a victim of cybersecurity attacks, including myself. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. So what happened? Let me start from the beginning. I got a call from an unknown number, and they said my name and said, "Hey, is this you? Hey, Gabe, is this you?" And I said, "Who is this?" And then they hung up the phone, right? So I'm just like, okay, maybe somebody just had the wrong number. Who knows? So then all of a sudden, maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, I got a call from what I thought was my sister. My sister, her name, her picture had popped up. All of those things that popped up, and I heard her voice, or what I thought was her voice, on the other line. And I heard it briefly, but then I heard a man's voice started to say, "I got your sister, and I need you to pay me in order for you to get her back safely. In order for me to leave, if you just pay me, I'll just leave and leave her safe." He started to come up with this story about how his family isn't supporting him and isn't helping him out, and that this was the only thing that he could do. You know, this whole elaborate story about what he needed for me to do. So let's take a step back here, right? I'm not in my cybersecurity mind. At this time, I'm sitting home with my family. My little 1-year-old is running around. My wife is here. My mother-in-law is over here, and I'm just in family mode, right? A lot of times I try to separate work from life or family life, where in this case, if I blended them, maybe I wouldn't have been the victim here. So, you know, my mindset wasn't even cybersecurity at the moment. So when this ransom, right, from this individual, where I'm looking at my phone, it looks like it's my sister, her number and everything popped up, the ransom, it seemed to be real to me, right? So this is something that's very common of attackers. They try to create a sense of urgency. They try to create a sense of panic and distress and danger in order to get you to perform certain activities for them to be able to accomplish whatever goal that they have. So in this case, my mindset was not cybersecurity. It was to help and protect my sister. That was the thing on the forefront of my mind. I think I knew that she had recently worked a new job or going into a new field. And I'm like, okay, this is probably, my mind is thinking that it's probable that somebody has her. Anyway, stepping forward in the situation, I tried to quickly resolve the issue. I'm going on all these different accounts and not moving anything around, but I'm just going to these different like PayPals and Cash Apps, and I sent them a certain amount of money, right? I sent them a certain amount of money. They got off the phone and they dispersed. Automatically, I'm still in panic mode, so I'm like, I need to find out where she is. I need to be able to understand if she's safe, if she's okay. The person had left her. So I go ahead and call my sister's number right back. And guess what? Guess what she says? Nothing. She says nothing has happened to her. She was actually confused herself about what I was calling about. She said, "What's going on? What's happening? Why do you sound so panicked and distressed?" And then at that moment, I'm like, they got me. They got me. Bingo. Bingo. They got me. I tell her, right, we're having a conversation about this. I tell her what happened. She's like, "Oh, no, I can't believe that happened." And right? I'm like, yeah, just call your phone carrier, right? Call your phone carrier to kind of understand what you need to do with your number, what you need to do with your account in order to make sure that other people aren't a victim like I was. So, you know, what happens after that? Let me just tell you the struggle in my mind. The struggle in my mind is that, hey, how did they get me? How did I get got by something that I advise customers and organizations against all the time, right? I advise against these particular things. I've even done red teams where I was the person on the other side of the phone performing social engineering attacks legally, of course, right, with the permission of organizations to try to coerce people in order to give me sensitive information. So, there was a little degree of shame there, right? It was a degree of shame. Like, how could they get me? And I'm supposed to be the cybersecurity guy. I got a YouTube channel. You guys are watching my YouTube channel right now. And you all, right, for cybersecurity advice. But that's the thing, right? That's one of the main focuses of my channel, is that cybersecurity isn't easy. And even cybersecurity professionals, in my case, can be victims of cybersecurity attacks. And in this case, a social engineering attack. So that shame was there. But at the same time, I recognize it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody. So then these are some steps that I took in order to make sure that things were resolved. I know that banking with financial institutions that are very credible, they have checks and balances in place in order to make sure that you get your funds back. So I'm going to PayPal, I'm going to my banking institution, and I don't even think it was 24 hours, not even 24 hours. All my funds were back into my account. I filed a report and all these different things, and no harm, no foul, right? Really, that's really what it is. So that's pretty much the resolution of what happened. All right, I was able to go to my financial institutions and I was able to get my monies back for social engineering attack that I was vulnerable to, or that worked on me. And I think that if you're in the same type of situation, that's what you probably should do. I think that if I was to do this again, I would have done a couple of things, and let me tell you about that. Let's move to that part. If somebody calls you that you don't know, right, and they might be doing something similar that the attacker did to me, acting like there's some level of distress, I would say also to have somebody else walk by you to make sure to go ahead and call whoever that loved one number is to confirm, right? Because if my wife or my mother-in-law, if they had called my sister's number and she picked up, I would have been able to easily confirm that, hey, this is a social engineering attack and they are trying to get some money from me, right? That would probably be number one. Have somebody else to verify it. Another thing that with iPhones and other phone services, they have geolocation information that you're able to share with loved ones. I think that that's a really good thing that you can employ in these type of situations, to know what their location is in the event that it could be something serious. So, that's another thing, right? Because they could be right at home, right? Somebody could say, I got them in the parking lot, and you can verify on the geolocation thing to say, hey, they're at home. Yeah, this isn't true. Or another one could be to just hang up, right? If you're in a situation and you really don't feel comfortable or you don't think that it's real, you can just hang up and keep your day going. So those are three things that maybe would have resolved the issue that I was vulnerable to. Let me see. Another one is banking with reputable financial institutions. They a lot of times have checks and balances. They have processes in place in order for you to get your funds back very quickly, because these social engineering attacks are very common. They're very common. So I would say maybe even out, check with your financial institutions to understand if they have things in place that, hey, if I do have some issue with some hackers or some individuals getting access to my funds, is there a way for me to get that back, and what's that process? Because I think that part of it was me educating myself on the process of being able to retain my funds. So that's my struggle. Right? Struggle security. That's my struggle. I was a victim of a social engineering attack, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen to you. Maybe you can learn from my previous experience. You can learn from my struggles and my failures here. And I would always say to be vigilant. Be vigilant, double, triple, quadruple confirm if somebody is who they say they are on the other side of that phone, because social engineering attacks are ramping up here in 2024. Not just for me, but even possibly for you and your organizations. So again, this is Struggle Security. I wanted to share this with you, to have a vulnerable moment with the audience and really let you recognize that, hey, anybody, even cybersecurity professionals, can be vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. So this is Struggle Security. Like, share, and subscribe, right? Like, share, and subscribe. And if you also have had an experience with social engineering, if you have previously been hacked or something happened to you where it might have been a human error and you might have been that human that made that error, put your stories down here in the comment section, right? Put them down here so I don't feel alone, because I don't want to feel alone in this, because I know that a lot of people are getting hacked. But listen, put your story down in the comment section. Let me know what's going on and how did you resolve it for individuals who are reading on. So again, Struggle Security, where we're normalizing struggling in cybersecurity, where I share with you one of my struggles, and hopefully you don't have to struggle the same. Thank you, and come back again for more and more of this type of content. Thanks.